All right, let's get started. Well, greetings everybody and welcome to my YouTube channel, All That Is. I'm so pleased to be here today with my divine sisters, Shekinah Grace and Shekinah Ma. We are here to talk about a few things, but initially we just wanted to talk about the synchronicities that brought us together and that have continued to start to take place since we came together in this most divine way. But first, as we like to start our gridwork missions and all of our gatherings, we'd like to begin it in a sacred union, if you will. And we've got our beautiful Shekinah Ma, who has taken on the mantle as our priestess, so to speak, and who is bringing us into that sacred union in all of our gatherings and in all of our ceremonies. So I just wanted to just bring our energies together and taking a deep breath in as we bring our energies and align our energies to Divine Mother, Father, God, and just asking us to please watch over us as we bring forth this beautiful gathering. And I would ask our audience to please take what resonates with you and leave the rest behind. And as we move into our ceremony, we just want to focus our energies into the here and now. And as we call upon our higher selves connected to source of all creation, to please be with us here now, clearing away any and all energies that wish to harm us or distract us from our mission. And so I would love to invite us to light a candle as we open up this sacred space. And with that, I would love to invite Shekinah Ma to begin the ceremony.
Candle is lit. The light is on. Today is Thursday, so we in the Mystery School traditions honor this day as Jupiter Day. And Jupiter, as Shekinah Grace was saying, is the Guru planet. And the Guru planet, we practice the Gyan Mudra, which is bringing the Jupiter fingers here and connecting with the sun finger. And then we hold that onto our knees and come into that meditative pose. Connecting ourselves with our Jupiter ascending, our beautiful connection to the Guru, to the higher consciousness. And so I will now call a circle with the directions of the medicine wheel with our connections to the Jupiterian higher consciousness. And so we look to the east, to the place of the rising sun, to the place of the eagle consciousness, Womble, sacred vision, so that we may rise in our inner knowing and our ability to have clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, all the wonderful clairs as they line up to give us our abilities, our cities, our psychic powers. As the sun rises, so does our power, now coming into the south, into the place of the peaking sun. Here in the south, we honor the dragons and the serpents, as in the old dragon lines and ley lines and meridians of the Earth Mother. And we call in these powers to reawaken the Earth Mother, to activate the Earth Mother, and to heal our Earth Mother. And so coming into the south, into the place of the peaking sun, we draw on the power of the fire and the fire-breathing dragons, the guardians of the earth, the air, the water, and the fire. As the guardians, they are of the elementals. And here in the fire, we burn away all the dross, we burn away all the karmas, and we burn away all the illusions so that we may stand in our power like a tree, like a bridge from the earth to the sky. Now we come into the place of the west, into the place of the setting sun, and the place where all the things that can be let go of get let go as it sinks down deep into the ocean. As the sun sets into the waters, we now honor the element of water in the west. Here we find the merfolk, the mermaids, the ancient Lemurian codes. We see the messages in the water. We hear and feel the messages of the water. Of Yemaya, the goddess of the ocean, the great grandmother of the sea, who holds our original blueprints held in the Akash, the records of time and space. And we allow for the waters to wash us clean and even baptize us and anoint us in these great mysteries. Coming around into the north now, into the place of darkness where the sun has set and now it is night. We come here to honor the earth herself, the earth mother, our Pachamama. We find in the north stands the unicorn and also the Sasquatch, Sabe, the guardians of the earth. We call upon those ancient ancestors that also stand in the north. And to the place of the white-haired man and the white-haired woman, our elders. And also to the rocks and the stones and the crystal grids. These are the keepers of the records, and these are the power, the crystals, the keepers of all the memories of Earth through all the timelines. And so we activate the awakening and the remembering of who we are, where we have come from, and why we are here. And we bring this now as a full circle together, east, south, west, and north, connected into one focal point within the center, within the cog of the wheel. And here we see the Yeshua, the Christed light, connecting into this beautiful medicine wheel, into this beautiful medicine shield that holds us, guides us, and protects us. Balancing the earth, the air, the water, and the fire, balancing earth, our body, water, our blood, air, our breath, and fire, our spirit. May we be healed, may we be whole, and may we be blessed. Aho, Takyasin. And so it is.
Oh, thank you. So beautiful. Thank you, sister. Wow. That always gets me. It's so, so beautiful when you open up the space like that.
So complete, eh? As
Yeah.
honor the elements and the guardians of the four directions.
Yeah, it's just so beautiful. And I that sort of before we go into our discussion, it just gives me that impression in my heart that we've been so separated from just being sacred as human beings, right? Anyway, with that, I just want to welcome everybody to this beautiful space of joy and grace that Shekinah Ma has just opened up for us. And I would like to say, first of all, that I'm so grateful to all of you for being here. Thank you for subscribing to my channel. To all of our new friends, thank you for welcoming us and welcome to this space. We are here today to talk about, first of all, how we came together and how we've merged as the Trinity, and what we are wanting to call ourselves from today, I guess, on this show is the Shamankas. And Shekinah Ma will talk a little bit about how she came about with that name. So here we are, the three Shamankas. But before we get to that, I just want to briefly talk about my own background and my story a little bit about how I came to be and how these two divine beings came into my reality. It was all very synchronistic. And so, yeah, to me, it's like a grand puzzle. We are all pieces of this very grand divine puzzle. And as we explore our journey together, and how we come together, it's just been so fascinating to me. And as we do this, like me talking about my journey, and perhaps when the two Shekinahs are talking about their own journey, I would like to welcome all of our listeners and everybody tuning in to divinely tune into your own past and into your own spiritual journey, and try to find that divine spark within your own heart, and try to connect it to that divine puzzle, if you will, and try to see where you are in this larger than life ascension journey, if you will, that we are on. Try to figure out, are you within your spiritual tribe? Are you working on your spiritual path to get to be part of that tribe? Have you found your purpose? What is your purpose? Are you working towards that spiritual purpose? What are the missing parts in your life that are stopping you from getting to that purpose? So I would encourage you to sort of question yourself and try to find those answers within your own heart. And
Mm.
if you're not already on a spiritual path, I would say dive in now, folks, because this is the time that you need to be doing this work. There's no better time. We are in such a beautiful, beautiful time on this earth plane to be doing this work, right?
Mm.
And so for myself, I've been on this journey for a while now. And if you have been following my channel, I've talked about this and a little bit about my journey and how it came to be. And I have to say, I was kicking and screaming as I was brought into this reality because I, for one, like I knew I was on a path, but I didn't want to engage publicly, if you will, and what was being asked of me by the divine and by, the Mother, Father, God, by my guides. But anyway, that was my challenge, right? And so after many dark nights of the soul and trying to, come to terms with where I was going and what I was doing, I found the space within myself, that grace within my own self that was coming into alignment with my higher self and with all that is, or the Almighty, as you can name that being as many different things as the Creator. And so what I found that was I took a stand, if you will, and took my power back, took my sovereignty back, and I went on this quest. Not only trying to find the truth about my soul, but just finding the truth about the world and the world that we live in. And my God, I found a lot of a lot of dark things there, during my quest. But what that did to me was that it brought forth all of these blessings and all of these truths and all of this beauty as I was on this journey, if you will, of discovering the seeding of my soul. And so it went back to the times when Brahma walked on the earth in the human flesh. And so this was the seeding of my soul, if you will. And then it went through that darkness of being captured by the Draco and by the inverted energies that we currently live in. And we're getting out of that reality, if you will. But not to get too much into that topic, I would encourage you to look on my channel for all of that. But that was sort of my deep dive, if you will, into my own soul search and how I came to be on this earth, in this body, in this flesh. And through that, I was like, I discovered all of these beings that came into my reality. And the first one that showed up was Yeshua. And, it was as a rescue mission, if you will. And through that, I was introduced to the beings that perhaps a lot of you on my channel are more familiar with now, called the Collective of Three, with whom I've written the first book called All That Is Progressing to the Fifth Dimension. And so it's like as these layers were peeled away, I was exposed to many other ascended masters, and then Mary Magdalene came into my reality, and then the energies of the Divine Mother started to show up. And there was this balance that I was finding, or imbalance, I should say, because I found that my personal field or my personal energy was lacking in the energy of the Divine Mother. And so when these beings started to show up, like Mary Magdalene, Mother Mary, Hathor, and all these beings started to come into my reality, they just showed me this purity, if you will, that was the emanation of the Divine Mother. And as I worked through this fog and all the doubts in my own awakening, miracles started to happen in my life. And as I worked through this, the writing of The Voice of an Angel with Yeshua, that was my second book, these synchronicities continued to happen. And they continued with, the 1st of January when I went on Indigo Angels channel for the first time. I was so nervous because that was my first, you know, debut, if you will, into the public arena. And so that was like a huge thing for me to overcome that fear, right? But I came out of it and I was like, yes, I did it, you know. It felt really good in my heart to be able to overcome that hurdle that was such a big deal for me. And then things just started to get easier and more graceful as the time went by. And I started to get more and more initiated, if you will, within this whole divine feminine energy and the Sophia consciousness that was becoming more and more apparent in my life. And then Isis started to show up and Hathor started to show up more and more. And with that, all of these blessings again started to just keep coming and coming and coming and it was like, you know, the hits just kept coming, and it was like I was journaling like crazy, and I was like trying to share my story online, but there was just so much that I just could hardly keep up with it, right? And then the synchronicities kept happening, and the the universe or the divine mother was like, I'm going to give you one. I'm sorry, I'm not going to give you one, but I'm going to give you two Shekinahs. And these two beautiful people showed up in my life quite synchronistically, also through Indigo Angel. Shekinah Grace and I met through the chat, and she was like, very pointedly, she was like, hey, Indian lady, let's connect. And so that's how we got chatting, and we chatted for like 2 hours during that first call of ours. And then Shekinah Ma, you and I got together when we were doing the Gridwork Facilitator course, and we ended up doing a mission together that was ironically inspired by Shekinah Grace. That was the Canadian Gridwork mission. And so all of these layers were like, it's as if these beings were like, you know, putting us together and saying, okay, here you go, this is how you're going to weave all of this together, and how these synchronicities are building. And I was like, wow, this is just so crazy, you know. And when the second Shekinah showed up, I texted Shekinah Grace and I was like, are you in this course with me? And she's like, no, I'm not. So I'm like, wait a minute, there's another Shekinah, and she also lives in BC. And I was like, oh my God, this is just too good to be true, right? So anyway, that was like how we all came together. And you know, we've been doing a few grid works now, and you know, we've been weaving how each of us are sort of aligning ourselves with the work that we're being called to do, and how the energies that are coming into our reality so poignantly, so synchronistically together. And it's like we all seem to be seeing the same thing but from different perspectives. And when we text each other or when we call and talk to each other, we're all like speaking the same language but seeing it from a different perspective, right? So anyway, that was my little introduction and how these beings came into my reality, for which I'm truly, truly grateful. So I'll hand the baton over to Shekinah Grace if you want to give us your feedback, Shekinah Grace.
I love hearing that story. I've heard you share it a few different times, and every time we share a story, new pieces come out and new codes. And every time you share it, I just feel chills and chills and chills. And I kind of feel lost for words sometimes when we get together. There's so much that happens in between our calls and our grid work missions. I just feel like the three of us meeting has been accelerative or accelerating, and really landed me in the sacred geometry of the now moment. And it's just been so much fun to be in this communion with the two of you, um, and to feel that we're truly connected to that Sophia Christ consciousness stream of consciousness. And the more we do together and the more that we share, I just know in every cell of my body that we've done this before together. We've met many times throughout many lifetimes. And so I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure where to start in terms of my own journey. I've been on a healing journey and seeking I would say since even junior high. But when I really kind of, after the teenage years and kind of just wanting to fit in those years for sure, and not really feeling supported in my seeking journey, then my brother passed away when I was 20, and that kind of like got me back on track again, actually, ironically. So it was another awakening moment, but in a very, when you mentioned, Raquel, how a lot of darkness came with that moment when you were ready to get on your soul mission. And so that was my experience initially, at least for 10 years, if not actually even leading right up to the moment when we moved out here in 2019. I mean, there was both, right? There was tremendous light and enlightenment and awakening, and tremendous awareness and darkness that I could both witness and see in the external, as well as had to move through and process within my own body, mind, and psyche. So, but I was so willing, and I knew that I had planted the seeds of willingness. I had planted the seeds of that, like, spiritual warrior type path or energy in my life. And so I never ever gave up. And the reward of meeting the two of you, and more having, like you shared, the synchronicities and the miracles happening like 20 times a day now. Like, it's so unbelievable. And I can't agree with you more that this is, although there are times when I feel quite heavy with the old densities, like lifting from even my biology, and like the release and the letting go and the shedding of the skin of the past, like I still feel in the midst of those moments of where I'm still healing and letting go, how exciting the times that are that we are in, even though certain things are amping up. So, I mean, I feel so fortified by our Trinity, and I feel like I have, like, Joan of Arc energy behind me with the two of you, that solar feminine Christ, that mantle, the Christed mantle, that lineage, that team behind me. Um, the more we get together, the stronger I feel. And I hope I share that same energy with both of you. It's my deepest prayer to be able to contribute to, the unfolding of what this collaboration is. So I'm not sure if that answered, the intention of our sharing in this moment, but that was what was on my heart to share. So I'm honored to be here, and I look forward to seeing how the conversation will unfold.
Thank you so much. That's beautiful. Shekinah Ma?
Unmute myself. So yes, I enjoy hearing both of your backgrounds, and I know all the people listening, everybody has, like you mentioned, Raquel, like a background, a starting point. And of course it goes back into, the beginning, whatever that even means, because who knows? We could have been cosmic drops, So basically, as I was a child, I was just thinking back into my own childhood and remembering that I never really had much of a chance. The darkness was always there. I believe I was around 6, because I remember I was learning to write, and I was writing these poems of 8 by 8 isn't life great? I have a mother, but it's not this mother. I have a father, but it's not this father. I have a home, but it's not this home. And anyways, I felt like I was imprisoned into some prison cage box consciousness. I found my relief in the ocean, as I was born and raised in Laguna Beach, California. And I truly believed I was a mermaid. I still believe I am a mermaid. But I did have a lot of suicidal tendencies at 6 and up. I basically was like super homesick. I also was raised by a priest. My godfather was a priest, and I actually really loved him, and he was quite a visionary. The Christianity, Episcopalian root of Christianity was good. But yet I had like this whole memory as if like this phantom piece was missing to the whole stories, and where it kind of kept like making me feel all these things, but then it wouldn't really be complete. And I was left still wondering, still seeking. And Yeshua stepped in at an early age because I, as I mentioned, was quite suicidal. So dealing with depression all my life, being put on drugs for it, being put at one point into a hospital for it. I had this awareness that I wasn't buying it. Reality was like not for me. I kind of seen through everybody, and I was very aware that people were like a facade. And I was always like, who are you really? And why is everybody lying to themselves and each other? So I had quite a childhood. Took me on to parties, raves, the club culture, drugs, alcohol, sex. Did the whole sex, drugs, rock and roll. Grew up near LA, so it was party town. I came into my 19th year of life, the sun in Tarot, because Tarot is the royal path. I found myself in an Egyptian mystery school, and I began to learn the Tarot and numerology and the Egyptian mysteries. And at 19, I kind of excelled into kind of finding myself sober. I was almost of age in America when I went completely sober. Found my husband. He was a Kundalini yogi. I got brought into the yogis. He was also a Satnam Rasayan practitioner, so he practiced the Kundalini yogic healing modality. And so I was very immersed into all these beautiful meditations, gatherings, kirtans, all the wonderful spiritual world just went pop, 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 pop. And studied shamanism, studied Hawaiian, kuna, kahuna energies, all the various things I could get. I was just like, give it, give it, give it, give it, give it. I was like fixing and healing my broken soul. And so I kind of also came on a journey just to understand, like, why did I see the things I saw in my dreams? Led me down the rabbit hole of the MK Ultra and the Hollywood and the satanic cults upon the planet and the death cults, which got me into the Orion Wars, which got me into the Star Wars. And holy shit, like the whole thing just kept unraveling. So it was like a never non-stop journey to get me to here. I worked at a Jewish preschool, and because little kids always used to call me mama, they were like, you're such a Shekinah. And I was like, I don't know what that is, but I like it. And if you grow up in America with the name Hillary, somehow people think it's funny to say Hillary Clinton to you, and you're like, not at all. So I was quite happy to take up Shekinah, because they called me Little Shekinah. And then like I got this book Shekinah, and then this music CD Shekinah, and like the name just kept showing up everywhere I was. Like, okay, I get it. I'll take the name Shekinah. And then the ladies at the Jewish Temple Preschool in Newport Beach, they were like, we call you this because we want to bring her back. We want to bring the divine feminine back. So it seemed like it was like a little bit of an assignment to bring in the Shekinah. That was back like in 1999 or something. And so then, to me, Shekinah Grace was kind of like, oh, wow, because I had reached out to you due to the ostriches, which is an issue in BC here, that our local ostrich farm is facing. And anyway, so we connected, met Raquel on the grid working course of Indigo Angel. So we all just got put into each other's life via the divine great spirit Magdalena Rose line. I totally agree. We've been doing this for forever. And just reincarnating to help and raise consciousness and make beautiful this world, because that is the way. That's about all I got to say.
Thank you.
Actually,
That's
I
such
could
a
talk
beautiful
forever,
story.
but I'll shut up.
No, it's beautiful. No, it's good to have that background, right? Especially just to become familiar, for people to become familiar with us, because this is going to be a weekly show, or at least that's our hope, right? But yeah, that's beautiful. Thank you, ladies, for that background, and just giving us a little bit of that essence of what you are and how you arrived at this point. Shekinah Ma, if you want to tell us a little bit about the Shamankas and how you came about that, and then I'll play this video for the audience of your beautiful transmission from yesterday, which was just so amazing. But I just wanted you to give a brief introduction of what the Shamankas mean to you.
Well, I'm reading a book by Annie Williams, and it's Guardians of the Dragon Path, and it's all the Magdalena, the whole Rose line, the whole connection throughout all the sacred sites in Spain and in France. It goes deep, deep, deep. I mean, I'm just like 3 chapters in, and I'm like, whoa. But reminded me, because it came up with the Shamankas, which is female shamans. However, I remembered I used to live in a little community with my old best friend Gaia, and our good friend Andromeda was always with us. We were like the Shemaya Shamankas, and we used to kind of connect with that Shamanka vibration back when my daughter was born, 3-ish. So she's 19 now. It's like 16 years ago or whatever. So when I seen the word again, I was like, Shamankas. It's out. Cat's out of the bag. Here we are. So I just see you ladies as grid working shaman sisters. I know Shekinah does a lot of yoga and dance, and I always see all your beautiful offerings at your sacred temple in Caslo. And then Raquel was like this hit sister on the grid working, like apprentice to Indigo Angel, who were like, you're the queen. So anyways, very talented ladies here that go way, way deep. And so, I mean, Shamankas, when the shoe fits, right? That's what you do. You wear it.
Beautiful. Thank you. Yeah. So for the audience, I just wanted to play this beautiful transmission from Shekinah Ma from just yesterday, which I thought was really, really beautiful.
Aloha, beauties. So much love coming out into the world today from this big, beautiful rhododendron. This orb, this sphere of pink power. Just look at that quality of color. Let it hit your heart chakra and open, 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 open. Afrefra. Afrefra means to be opened in Aramaic. Afrefra. Afrefra. To be opened. And it is said that Yeshua would put his hand to your third eye and touch your third eye and whisper, Afrefra. And you would be opened and you would be healed. And it is that easy. We humans spend a lot of time making things very, very, very complicado. Very complicated. We take the most simplest thing and we twirl it and swirl it and take it all apart and dissect it and analyze it to a point of exhaustion. And then we have to arrange it and put it all back together again like a puzzle. When really we can bring it all back to a very simple practice of inhaling and exhaling and being in our center like a centaur and having that ability to have a somatic connection so that we can feel, into this feels good, or this does not feel so good. And I'm out here in nature where you'll get a really good connection, but maybe not such a good reception with the access to the internet of things. And so I wanted to just hop on here real quick as a 555 to be able to say the Shamankas are gathering. The Trinity Goddess Sea Star connection has been born. Raquel and Shekinah Grace and Shekinah Ma have united in a Trinity power, triangular pyramid of power connection. Inhaling and exhaling divine wisdom, the beauty way, giving you a pod like a dolphin, cast like a circle, full of intentions and attention to the important hot topics of our day, where we shall pray, where we shall bring light to these informations, bringing light to the shadow. It is said in quantum physics, you must bring light, you must bring your attention, and then bring intention. And that even just by seeing something, and even just by calling out its name, you change it forever. And that is our intention, to bring attention to that which must be changed. And to, with our Jedi focus, with our power of clarity and harmony and synergy and all the good medicines that we can gather from our heart and our soul and our spirit itself, heal this world. There she is. She's cuteness in a body with 4 legs. Little Kali Ma. Little Kali Ma. I got the beautifulest dogs, rescue babies, just so happy as a dog mama, cat mama, human mama. Shekinah is really that mama vibration. And so let us fill our world with that divine feminine. Let us heal together our divine feminine. Let us heal together our masculine, and let us come together through unity, like the earth, like the sky. And while we come together, we create a power that is unstoppable. And that is in fact what has been taking so long to reach the Great Awakening, is all the spellcasters casting division and separation. But know that when we come together and when we unify in our attention and intention and in our power of prayer and spirit, we are ascending and transcending, and we are unstoppable. And so instead of the calling, let us take heed to the calling. Let us hear the call, the clarion call, to gather together. I'm going to try to make it out back to the ostrich people this weekend. Colin Big Bear has been amassing a lot of the indigenous peoples coming from Turtle Island, and we've got a lot of magic coming together through the connection of the ancient worlds. It's almost like we got hoodwinked and our whole history has been a lie. And the more I deep dive history, such as Tartaria, such as the ancient civilizations, such as Atlantis, Lemuria, we have devolved rather than evolved. It is quite clear. And as we have devolved and disconnected, we have, of course, lost our power and lost our abilities. In the yogic tradition, they call it your cities, the abilities to have the clairaudience, clairsentience, all the clairs, to have the ability to move things with our mind, kinetic energy, to be able to heal, to be able to create miracles. And really and truly, I find that this is a time where we are actually able to create miracles. Puppy dogs, come on, leave the fluffy one be. We can create miracles, and in fact, that is God consciousness. It is a miracle we wake up each day. It is a miracle that this is all being held together. It is a miracle that you get well after being sick, and it's a miracle that you heal after you've been wounded or injured or broken. It's a miracle that old friends you have fought with that were once maybe enemies, you've been able to forgive and be forgiven by and heal. Everything's a miracle. Just look around. Look at this miracle planet. Look at the miracle of winter and then spring. Look at the miracle of a corn kernel that you plant and it becomes this giant stalk full of more corn, with each corn cob holding how many different more corn seeds. It's like the plentiful, abundant, miraculous world that we live in is calling us back to it. Right at the same time, a sinister force seeks to kill, murder, genocide. And that is why it is such an important call to action to come together. And we have many people calling us together. The ostrich farm is calling us together. The indigenous peoples around the world are calling us together to remember. Our own spirits are calling us back together to remember who we are, where we came from, why we're here, to remember the great power, the cities that lay inside of us, lay dormant like seeds in winter, waiting for the spring, waiting for the sun to return, waiting for the light. And that is the time we are in. And so let us come together in the light and bring that light to all the darkness and heal it and repair the broken hoop of life. And so that the beautiful circle of life is mended, healed, and holy, and we together shall shine like the light beings that we are in this golden age that is being born through us, through the sun, through the earth herself. So again, this is a calling, not a calling. We're overriding the call with the call. And that is how it's done, my friends. So aloha, so much love, and I hope to see you tomorrow, 555 on the Shamanka channel. I will leave the link in the comments below. Blessings, 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 blessing bringers unite. Let us sow seeds of blessings everywhere we go with everyone we meet. Okay. Mwah. Good night, friends.
So beautiful. So much there to unpack, hey? Do you want to comment, Shekinah Grace?
Oh, wow. I just love the authenticity in the channel that Shekinah Ma is, and she really really landed our work together and our intention. And yeah, it was just a very powerful transmission to initiate this collaboration and co-creation. And I'm just so grateful. Yeah, I think a big part of what we're doing together is that, recognizing what needs medicine. She mentioned a lot about, replacing the call with the call. And in our grid work missions, that's a lot of what we're doing. We're looking at the inverted anti-life, codes, the programming, I guess you would call it, and overlaying it with or calling back the organic, reversing the spin or the spiral. We're no longer in a descending serpent fire, but we're rising up together. That with life force, the life force is returning, to the body's heart. Well, I would say the hearts of people. Health is a huge topic right now. Working with the density of the body when there's so much coming in terms of downloads and light codes and DNA upgrades. And the body, I think, is having a little bit of, for some people, I know myself, like it feels like it's having a hard time keeping up with the speed and the level of the downloads and upgrades and light codes that are coming in. So I'm going on a bit of a tangent there, but
no, it's fine. But maybe just sort of give the audience just a little bit of a flavor of how we sort of bring our grid work mission together. As people have seen and perhaps heard from Shekinah Ma, she sort of brings in that sacred energy of, the medicine wheel, bringing that sacred energy together and contributing in that way to our gatherings and our grid work missions. So maybe if you want to plug in and perhaps give the audience a flavor of how it is and what your role is within that grid work scenario, if you will.
Sure. Yeah. So, as she said, as she dropped in that transmission, it's like whatever we place our attention on, where our consciousness is at, where our intention is, creates the change and makes the shift. It's transformative and transmutative, transmuting in the now. And that's why we are entered into that realm of miracles. If you are aligned and attuned and opened to that possibility. And I feel like that's what we do in the grid work mission. So we identify what current events, things that are happening on the 3D level, and even like 2D, 1D, like all throughout all the dimensions. I mean, sometimes, but we first get our understanding of what's happening on the earth plane, and then we understand what the medicine is, and that's the shamanic way. It's like we understand how to choreograph our life energies with all of the diverse energies of the universe that are available to us to work with, like our elemental allies and our guides. And so we each kind of bring in our own intuitive and responsive energies, prayers, our gifts and abilities that we feel that we're imbued with by the Creator, our own divine spark and unique fingerprint and voice. And I think the power of these missions is also the voice, the activation, because it's like sound creates. We're manifesting through sound. We're changing the reality, the holographic nature of our reality and the universe by speaking what we want to bring into reality, into the field. And so I would say that's really what we're doing. And it's not just words. Like when we speak and we do these prayers and these overlays and call back the organic template, and call back the original creation codes, the organic, the life, the living. It's somatic. We feel it in our bodies. We feel the shifts and changes taking place in real time. And like, that's as real as anything I've ever experienced in this matrix, I'm feeling more alive and like I'm more in the real now than I ever have in my life since doing the grid work. And leading up to the grid work, it's like, Spirit was preparing me for this work, for a while. I was feeling called to it, but alone. And then I met you guys, and it's really like apparent that, anyways, that's what I'll share about our missions. They're so much fun and, in my opinion, miraculously effective.
Thank you. No, that's awesome. And I think we were individually doing our own grid work anyway, right? It's like Indigo Angel, through her course and through our interactions and our grid work missions with her, has sort of fine-tuned us in a way to give us that focus that we needed in order to, in a way, cohesively bring that grid work mission together in a manner that is effective and efficient, right? And so our thanks to Indigo Angel for doing that, and we honor her and her journey as well. But you're totally right. I just wanted to plug into what Shekinah Ma has also brought through. And for me, it's that anchoring of that higher energy, of bringing in that 12th dimensional energy from my personal perspective, and just allowing for those higher energies to be anchored while we're going through this mission. And as you folks have said, bringing in the maps, bringing in that reality, if you will, of where we want to focus our energies, and going through the mission in a very cohesive way and saying, okay, this is where we are going now, and gathering that information, if we haven't already received it, to it being like a live feed, if you will, of what's really happening in those places. And we see that happening as we bring forth those energies, as we move through the field wherever we're traveling on the grid maps, right? And so anchoring those energies, bringing in those messages, sharing it with each other, and then dealing with the message, with the information, going to the root of the cause and extracting it, if you will, extracting the darkness, transmuting it, and bringing healing to those places that need the healing the most. And so we're working with frequencies, we're working with light language, we're working with sound, we're working with people's psychic gifts. And there's a lot of things that are happening during these grid work missions, but it's just our way of bringing it all together and working as a team and bringing those energies together for healing to take place. Did you want to add to that, Shekinah Ma?
Yeah, I was just feeling into all of that and just seeing how, we say as above, so below, as within, so without. This is like an old saying across probably the span of the entire planet, if not upon the star nations as well. However, it's like, we work on the grids, we work on the earth because we are the earth. The earth and us are one. And one of the things I see when I look out into the world, and I see a lot of mental health issues, I see a lot of addiction issues, alcoholism, etc. I see a lot of abuse, whether it's abuse upon the self or abuse upon others, people we love, our family, our friends, strangers. I see that there's quite a lot of sickness, like you were mentioning, Shekinah Grace, like there's quite a lot of sickness. Health is a big thing right now. And, the Earth Mother is calling her children home. There is a Hopi prophecy, and the Hopi prophecy is talking about the time that we are in now. I wrote this book. Oh, there we go. Frequency, the hour of power has come. I started channeling this back in 2019. Come 2020, I'm starting to see it all manifesting. We won't call it by its name in case you get flagged, but the kofefe, as Trump called it. We see the Jabiru. We see all these, It's like a domino effect of things that have gone on over these last 5 years. I wrote about it all. I was like, how the hell did I know that was all going to happen? But I started off with the Hopi prophecy, because in the Hopi prophecy, they say, you've been telling people it's the 11th hour, but now you're going to have to go and tell them that this is the hour of power has come. And they talk about how when the earth has been ravaged and the animals are suffering, and, we've all become disconnected and we're all lost, and we're like trying to seek answers and help and healing and, all of that. So the earth is just like that. And when we look at what we've done to the earth with all the freeways, the Hopi, the natives had seen that all in visions. They called it different things: the iron horse, the steel eagle, the cobwebs in the sky, the horned buffalo. They had foreseen all of these things coming. Like, this is all prophesized, whether it's indigenous prophecy or biblical prophecy or, whatever prophecy, the Mayan prophecy you want to go with. it's all been seen before. And so I feel like why we are doing this isn't just because it's fun and it feels good and it's great to connect with other like-minded people and find your tribe in this kind of crazy world. That is all true. But it's literally like you're healing yourself as you're healing the earth, and you're remembering, like you're attaching your body parts back on from the fragmentation that's gone on as you're like working on remembering the earth as she was when she was pure and whole. So there's this as within, so without. And then there's this as above, so below. And so the star nations are really activating. I mean, they've always been activated. We're just now coming back online. And so it's almost like they're calling us in to prepare for when we reconnect with our star family, because that is a huge, huge experience. Like I've done that before on medicine in Ecuador with a shaman, and that was powerful. To be like all of us becoming aware again of our star family is going to be like a, so I feel like we're preparing for what's coming. We're healing ourselves and healing the earth because we are one, as is the water, as is the air, as is the fire. And really everything just is crying out for help, the animals, you know. And then you got the water and you got the poisons in the water, you got the chemtrails in the air, you got the 5G, 6G grids. Those are the electrical circuits of the fire element. So, you know, it's all happening, guys. So this is a call to become a part of what is necessary for our own evolution. I'm just going to drop that like it's hot. This is necessary for our collective evolution and to prepare your temple, your body, for the initiation as to what is also coming. So I find like if you're not doing these things, you're probably suffering depression, loneliness, sickness, all the things. And so this is how you get healed, and this is how you come together with your soul tribe. So
Yeah.
everybody's welcome. Yeah.
Yeah. I would just like to add to that, just as a timing piece for anyone watching, and if that resonated for them, like there's no better time to start than now. And even if you're already on the path of healing and attuned to the current energies, you're aware, like right now it's very important to take care of your nervous system and stay grounded. If you want to actually like land the light codes and land the downloads and be able to receive from your galactic, family, your soul family, your um, transmissions coming in from different star nations or whatever, like all of that is available. Like right now we're in a very powerful portal that has to do with the ascension of Yeshua, has to do with, so you could just, even feel that within yourself as the ascension through Christ consciousness is really coming online right now. There, you could have an accelerated, like an experience of consciousness expansion, of shifting from like third density to fifth density. You could have all these like time wobbles or time warps, and if you're not taking care of your body, sitting on the earth, doing your deep breathing, aligning your spine, all of these simple things that you can salt and pepper in throughout your entire day are going to make you more available and keep your body and your soma and your nervous system relaxed enough that your DNA starts to unwind and soften and open up to the remembering, open up to, the memory that's stored there. So it's like when we're in a state of fight or flight, we're in a state of fighting, even when we're in a state of like, go, 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 we're in a state of stress or depression. It's like the DNA is tightly wound. And so those of us, you know, people who are like, I can't access these things, I can't connect with my guides, you know, well, check your nervous system, feel your spine. What's your musculature doing? You know, do you have unconscious holds in your body? Because that's going to prevent you from opening up your own soul's Akashic records and the records like Mother Earth's records and the cosmic records that are available to us. And this portal is right now, like we're right in an alignment with the Pleiades, and Alcyone or Alcyone, I don't know how to pronounce it. And Uranus is like this lightning energy of like sudden insight, you know, sudden flashes of your own intuition and impulses to, you know, calls to action. And if we're stressed and ungrounded and we don't know how to respond to the downloads and the information that's coming through, then we're not going to be able to do anything with that. And we do need to act. We're in a time where action is required. So yeah, it's like take this time, and we're approaching a new moon on the 26th. And so those seeds of like health consciousness, health sovereignty, I'm calling in all of my energies back to me, even though I have declared my sovereignty and bodily autonomy and like on all levels throughout all time and space. I do it regularly because for how long have we been kind of battling this like asleep awake, you know, situation here on the planet. And so we need to continue to feel our own energies and understand our own energies and discern the difference. And yeah, I would say just breath and sitting on the earth is probably the greatest advice. You know, it's simple and very effective. I would say throughout until the middle of June, like really grounding so that you can be receptive and available to your next steps and to the guidance and the instructions that you're given with everything that's coming in from spirit.
Thank you. Beautifully said. I just wanted to add to that. There's this overarching light, shall we say, that's coming down from the universe, and to me, that's been like pounded into my reality for the last, I would say, since I started writing the 2 books, and that's our exposure to the photon belt. And according to Yeshua, we're going to be in that light until about 2064, I think. So we've got this, you know, this beautiful window of time when that creator energy, that divine energy is pouring into the earth at this time. And it's like so beautiful to be bathed in those energies. And this is also come into my reality quite recently about the Aurora children that are being born right now. So if you think back to all, and you guys are perhaps you know, aligned with these energies of being called like indigo children or diamond children, or I forget all the other names, but the newest birthing, if you will, of kids are being called the Aurora kids. And they are coming in so powerfully with these missions that are already within their energy, within their being, but they are coming in and just being that light, you know, just their presence is bringing in that healing energy, that conversion, if you will, of what the new earth energies are meant to be. And so by just being present, they're birthing these new earth energies into the field. And so it's just so amazing to me how these things are happening, and it's happening all across the world right now.
Yeah, I'd like to add to that because I work with children. So that's been my profession, I guess, since I was like 19, 47 now, getting old. Got the grays. Anywho, yeah, the star seed, the crystals, all these beautiful children that are coming in are, I can tell you, like, for whatever 20, 30 years I've worked with children. These children nowadays are intense. They're so next level. I mean, like, number one, they don't quit. They're just going, they're going, they're going, they're running around in circles. It's like, oh my God. Just you, like, we should tie something to the children. They'll generate energy. They're also incredibly psychic. They're tuned right in. They absolutely love me because I am so not normal. I always make the joke that, like, yes, if you're not a muggle, you will be just fine with me because I totally get it. And the magic people are like definitely they're like magnetizing to each other, and so like the best thing we can do right now is hold space for these children, because absolutely and 100% they are the key holders to this new earth frequency. They have, like, the indigos came to break things up. That was me. We were very heavy duty, we were intense, we were like heavy. We had to do a lot of the chopping up of the concrete jungle, the Babylonia. And then like came in the crystals, and then they came in the star children, and like, you know, they've just been bringing back all of the codes. They're the code kit. Like they're like my Lemurian crystal I was playing with earlier. They're like these little codes down the crystals, right? So it's really awesome. And then one thing I can tell you is that within this new frequency coming online, there ain't no lying. You cannot lie. I mean, you shouldn't anyways, because it's kind of just pathetic. But honestly, these children just see right through you. And I see that in this world, you know, Sasquatch medicine, they talk about what is the Sasquatch, right? Where to go, and social distance champion for all ages. But that medicine carrier is of honesty. And so, you know, they say, what happened to Sasquatch? Well, everybody stopped being honest. And so, you know, I don't know if it's happened for you, for sure. In Nelson, where I live, Sasquatch is everywhere, everywhere, on people's cars, on people's coffee mugs, on their socks. I'm like, oh, coming in with like a super, like, you know, lightning strike. And people are just like, it's like truth serum. So I've been working with that medicine a lot and bringing a homeopathic truth serum to all the politicians. And the beauty of working with children is everything is play and everything is fun. And that's how you make magic. Magic isn't something that happens when you're sitting there in your head, in your neuroses and in your psychoses. It's what happens when you're in your heart and your whole body's activated and you're like, yeah, and you're having fun. That's when the miracles start coming in like that. So, like, we can play together, use the otter medicine. Sea lion otters, that's their medicine. They're playful. They swirl and twirl around in the oceans. You know, this is supposed to be fun. And I feel like once we all come back into our inner child, heal the inner child, Chiron, the wounded healer, work it out already, then we'll be able to just like go levitation mode, and we'll all like literally start hovercrafting, because density doesn't exist in positive vibration. It just falls off.
I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you. I really love that. Yeah, we should have more Shekinah Mas as our teachers. I would have loved to have a teacher like you.
Oh man, we have the best time ever. And I don't even have to say things anymore. I just look at them.
I'd like to kind of riff on the truth, like the honesty piece, because lately I've been reflecting on the power of confession, and not in like a priest, like confessional booth kind of way, but even if it's just to like, it's like self-honesty. I mean, it starts with self-honesty, because I think a lot of people are reserved and like tight, and they're not playful because they feel ashamed or have guilt, and like they're holding things that they feel they can't speak or share out of fear of judgment and being shamed or guilted or judged. And so something, when I was getting ready for the call today, that kept coming up, I kept hearing the words like, hold people in unconditional positive regard, hold people in unconditional positive regard, hold people in unconditional positive regard. And if we can embody that unconditional divine love frequency, and the more of us that do that, and the more we speak that into the field, the more we call it into the field, it's like the more of us land, or we help to facilitate like that sacred heart, or that hoop, you know, the sacred heart of humanity, like the sacred hoop mending through that heart frequency, we can start to just share things that we have felt ashamed to share our entire lives. And it's like once that like burden lifts, it's like deliverance from evil. You know, it's like thine is the power, the kingdom, and the glory. Like it all comes like once you unburden yourself of the things that we think are like we're so ashamed, or we were sinners, or we did this or that. It's like, so I really love that. And I think it starts first with like the self honesty. If we don't yet have the people in our lives where we feel that we can share authentically what's on our heart, or what's burdening us, or what we feel ashamed of, speak to God and speak it out loud. And then that's when you start to create the frequency of truth and honesty, and you start to attract the people that you can be truthful and honest with. So I just wanted to share, it's like a how to get there. And that's just one little piece, and it's one idea, but that's come up in my field this week, and I was kind of writing about it and reflecting on it a little bit, and then how much it's related to like the voice, and the truth shall set you free. So these codes are in there, and I really love that came up tonight, because I think, you know, it's like the invitation is here and now to share what's on your heart, to share and unburden yourself so you can get to your mission. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I totally agree. Because that's the integral part, right? That's where we're getting at with our missions. And, you know, it's all this truth that's coming out, that's being unveiled. And we are slowly peeling that onion and, you know, bringing light to all of the darkness that was shielded from us. And by uncovering this truth in a way, we are working through all of that and bringing forth that original template, if you will, of what things are meant to be and how they're meant to be, right? And so I just wanted to also mention today is the 22nd, which is like the Mary Magdalene number, right? And so, Shekinah Grace, I think you wanted to also bring through the unicorn transmission, which is related to Yeshua. So it's like these two beings somehow come to us in these different aspects and these different ways in how they present themselves to us. And so to me, that was sort of unique for what we were bringing in today. So maybe if you want to tell us a little bit about the unicorn and how that has shown up in your reality, Shekinah Grace, or Shekinah Ma, if you want to speak as well.
I just want to say that in history, because the Yeshua, Gnostic, Templar, Cathars, the whole crews were like hunted out like Inquisition style, and everybody, you know, literally was cold, like the ostrich folk want to have these people come and kill them off. Anyhow, they had to hide their codes into art, tapestries, etc. So when I studied art history in college, we went over all this beautiful Renaissance art and all the beautiful, you know, like there's just the Poet Prince's Kathleen McGowan's book. It's part of the unexpected one, the Book of Love, which is Yeshua's gospel. And then there's the Poet Prince, and it gets into all the art and where they had to hide all their codes. So the unicorn was used as a symbol for Christ, for Yeshua, as in the teachings that were passed through the Magdalena, who was seen as the rose. Okay, I'm done. I'm a nerd. I'm sorry.
I love it.
Not sorry.
No, you shouldn't be sorry.
Yeah, well, I mean, Shekinah Ma initially shared that piece of history with us, which kind of activated and triggered it activated me. And like my Scottish crest, like on my dad's side, is the unicorn crest. So yeah, and what I've been seeing, I guess, in my mind's eye and tuning into is like that bridal chamber, or that Heros Gamos connection, that divine, that spark that happens, that charge that happens when the pineal and the pituitary gland compress together, and it like opens the third eye. And what it makes me think of is our ability to manifest and like project plasma, you know, into the field. And so that's just sort of what's what makes sense to me, but that it does have to do with Yeshua, or I would see why that would be a symbol connected with Yeshua's teachings and Mary Magdalene as this divine union representation of what we all have the ability to do within ourselves. And that it is it's yogic science. I mean, kind of circling back to what Shekinah Ma kind of initially started to talk about, the health piece, and or I don't know where that started, but I mean, it comes back to the invitation. Like, it's like, just a little aside, it's like, if the evil forces or whatever, like, they're 24/7 on the job, right? And they're projecting into the future like thousands of years, and we're just kind of like, oh, maybe I'll just binge watch Netflix for a while, or I'll do this or that, and like, oh, I'll do my spiritual practice on this day. It's, I remember in 2019 I was kind of like pacing around and ranting at my husband. I'm like, it's on, like, it's 24/7 now. Like how the Essenes lived is how we need to live now. And so sometimes these activations, seeds have been planted for those siddhis to like open and awaken in divine timing, as we decided on that level of like lives between lives, or like with the creator, like, or certain karmas, that we've set ourselves up to experience in this life. And at the same time, it's like, it requires effort, like daily focus, not to be distracted away from what spirit is guiding you to do in every present moment. And so I want to bring in that discipline piece too, because this magical stuff, it doesn't happen and without some effort, without applying yourself and your potential. And it's like, we're scared of discipline because of like the outer authority and the critic and the judge, and like that, that like punishing kind of energy we associate with discipline. And so people shy away from it. But I just, if that doesn't work for people, I'm like, devotion, like, what's your daily devotional practice that you do? And I think it's just really important. I was also picking up on that today, that like, in order to find your tribe, in order to find your community where you live this lifestyle, you do have to start to do inner work to raise your vibration. And it starts with a prayer, and it starts with speaking it into the field, and it starts with being self-honest. And then you start to attract, become that magnetic field that attracts your people to you. And if you're already there, it's like, it's really time to assemble, to communicate, to commune, even if it's just online, and share these practices and do them and just apply them. Like, you receive something, it's like you're remembering something, an ancient mystery school teaching, or something like what Shekinah Ma shared, the I can't remember the word, but the Aramaic word, and how Yeshua like put the finger on the third eye. And it's like, we might not know exactly the right pronunciation, but we practice it, and we with our pure heart, and our intention. It's like and then it clicks, and it's like, yeah, like, I knew it was there, it just needed to be fine-tuned, and then we carry on. But like, this is the level of mastery that I feel that we're being invited into now. And just remember that, like, these guys that we're calling the evil ones of the planet, they're constantly in ritual. They're constantly doing like incantations and planning, and they know the astrology, and they know everything, and they're planning everything out. And so it's like, we can't be spiritually lazy anymore, is my point.
Thank you. No, beautifully said. So beautifully said. And it's true, it's like you said, they've had, thousands of years to fine-tune their inversion, if you will, right? And we've been in the thick of it for so long, we've forgotten what normal looks like, because our normal is now what they have trained us to look, to be, and to behave, and to be within our hearts, right? And they've severed us from that connection to the divine as much as possible, right? Like, if you think of the pineal gland, which you just talked about, like, we've been we've been calcified and calcified and calcified to the extent that we just can't even connect directly to the divine anymore because of that calcification of our pineal gland, right? And so that's just one little layer, right? But there's so many things, if you think about, the fluoride in our toothpaste, like Shekinah Ma also said earlier, it's in our skies, the poisons are in our water, they're in our food. It's like they've been doing this for so long. It's just that we haven't realized what's truly taking place. And like you rightly said too, Shekinah Grace, it's like, for us normal is like, binging on Netflix, or thinking that everything is okay, and that our goal in life is to get that house, get that car, get the wealth, and nobody is concerned or even has that desire in their heart, if you will, to have that sacred devotion or live a sacred life anymore, right? And I was recently introduced to the book by Shekinah Ma, Anna, the grandmother of Jesus, and this talks about the Essene life, which was so beautifully laid out in that book. And I highly recommend it to anybody to go and pick up that book and read it. And she lived for 600 years upon this earth plane as a being, as a physical being. But, through their practices, through their pure energies, and through the way of, working with the mystery schools, incorporating that devotion in their heart, that discipline, as you talked about rightly so, and going through all of those practices, they were brought here to, in a way, prepare the land, if you will, for the birthing of Yeshua, right? And so all of these pure beings were in that community, in that collective, to create that space, to be in that space of purity in order to birth this divine being, right? And so I'm not saying that, yes, we need to be as pure as those beings, but like you said rightly so, Shekinah Grace, we are being groomed in order to get to some semblance of purity within our heart, to that devotion within our heart, to that disciplined practice of, yoga, meditation, whatever your practice is, to bring that into your daily life. And it's like we are just peeling the layers off of all of the deception and the inversion that we have been a part of, and when we come to that truth, it's like we don't know what hit us. We don't know most times how to find our truth again, how to heal ourselves. And so there are many teachers out there are many beings out there to offer you those guidances on how to heal yourself. Shekinah Grace, for example, Shekinah Ma has written a book, and I don't know if you offer any healing modalities, Shekinah Ma, but I myself offer, energy healing sessions. And so there's many people out there that are ready and available to guide you through these processes, to be able to even just scratch the surface and have that, a very basic practice, if you will, to get to that place where where those synchronicities start to happen, and then you are in that space where you're able to deal with this on a more advanced level and get into that initiative stage of finally, being on that spiritual path, if you will. So thank you for that offering.
Yeah, I'd like to see with the unicorn, if you put your thumb to your third eye and your Jupiter finger out, right? So sometimes in yoga, we say this is your ego. And so you can do ego eradicator, which you would take and this is like Christ on the cross. So this is ego eradicator. But if you take this, stick it to your third eye, shoot out your Jupiter finger, and it goes right to the source. This is unicorn mudra. And, when you think of Yeshua saying, Ephra, 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 to be opened, right? So you're literally channeling the unicorn with the Ephra, Ephra, and then you're tuning into, well, what is the unicorn totem? It's innocence. It's innocence, all right? If you ever want to see a fantastic movie, speaking of binging on movies, he is a legend. It's like Tom Cruise when he first came onto the scene before they all fell into the kakajuju. But Legend is all about the unicorn and the story of the unicorn. And the horse animal totem is power. So you got the unicorn horn with the totem of power, and the true power is innocence. And in your innocence, if you can just close your eyes and breathe back into the place where when you were innocent, right? And that is called the inner child. And so we want to reconnect to that place where they describe it. I see it as a place where before your heart was ever broken, before you ever learned of evil, before you ever imagined it was possible to fall from grace. And so we are reconnecting to our innocence, to the return to innocence. And in that, all healing happens.
Yes,
Yeah.
I just want to say
0
yes.
point failed.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love that so much, because I was going to say, you know, worthiness is an issue, you know, that prevents people from, you know, even embarking on the journey. And it's like that just cuts right back to it. It's like, listen to your, you know, go back to that place when of your innocence. Yeah. And commune with that part of yourself. Yeah. Anyways,
Well, I just wanted to bring in some comments. We've had a few people going and just chatting away in the chat box there. So we have one from Kara Arnett. She says a lot of people don't understand it's all over some sites that the darkness has left. Very little discernment right now. I tend to agree with you, Kara, but there is a departure, if you will, of the Draco and the overlords, if you will, that have been ruling us for however long, since the Draco invasion. So to me, the way I see it and the way that it's been explained to me by Yeshua and Mary Magdalene and some other ascended masters that work with me, it's like a tier system, right? And so if you can imagine the Draco and all of their minions as being the first three tiers of the top of the pyramid, and with society in their various forms following, the different layers of the pyramid, with us at the bottom, at the very bottom, the everyday people, right? And so what has happened in the last, I would say perhaps since 2020, there's been a decree by the creator that these beings are, in a way, have to leave this earth plane. And so all of these, the Draco, the reptilians, the what are the others? The Greys, they've all been decreed to leave this earth plane. They're no longer allowed to destroy this planet like they have been and have that grip over humanity. And so over the last 5 or 6 years, that ruling class, if you will, has been systematically being removed from this earth plane. So what remains is the human beings that they have trained, and we've just recently, just a little while ago talked about that, where we've been for the last so many thousands of years entrenched in that guidance, if you will, of how they saw society and how they wanted society to manifest according to their lower vibrational energy fields, right? And so the humanity that we see today, that is warring against each other, that is, torturing the kids, that is doing the human trafficking, and all of these depraved acts within society are a remnant of those energies, if you will, that are, coming in from that Draco mindset, if you will.
yeah, it's like a residue.
Yeah, so the people, or the mindset that we're dealing with now is mostly within the minds of the humans that have been trained into that belief system, and this is how you are supposed to be, and this is how you are meant to act in society. So there's a cleansing going on within the human mind, and that's where we need to bring in those people and heal those people from that entrenched system, if you will, within their own minds. And that's to me the challenge, because to them it's like life is normal and everything is fine. And so there's varying degrees of how much they have been inverted and flipped, if you will, into the darkness. And that's where the things like the MK Ultra and all of these programs come in, right? where these people or these beings have programmed the mind into thinking a certain way. They've essentially stolen the essence of a person's mind and body and made them to think in a certain way or to behave in a certain way, while they stood behind you and watched. It was like a show for them, right? And they watched the drama taking place in front of them. And this was their livelihood, this was their way of living. And so this is what we have to shine a light on in a way. And I don't want to say this to scare anybody, like you're not going to be attacked by the Draco or anything like that. It's just a way of bringing awareness to where we are and how we have arrived at this point in our reality. And so I just thought I'd share that with Kara, and it was a valid point. I thought that was, poignant in bringing up that information right now. So thank you, Kara.
Yeah, I agree on both levels. Like, you did a great summary of what I also feel resonant with what you shared, Raquel. That it's like a residue, and it's now just correcting like the mind, shifting from the lower mind to the higher mind and reconnecting with our higher selves. And in fact, that's what's available to us in this kind of time portal that we're in right now, and over the new moon energies leading up to the full moon. The next full moon is that opportunity to align our will, you could say, like the ego with the divine will. And so at the beginning of our call, I really saw like a solar plexus activation. And some of us are like going to be charged up with like the energy of the sun, the frequency of the sun, of the solar Christ energy. And some of us are still going to be in like that ego battle, the power struggle dynamic. But I have witnessed in sessions with people that the Draco, like that those energies, the residual, like almost phantom energies that are still kind of like ghosts here, like on Earth, like that it's the Christ light that actually removes them and eradicates them. And so if you feel whatever you want to call it, the light of God, the God spark, but I call it the Christ light or the Christ consciousness, it's like that pure love, heart centered, heart and mind totally united, consciousness, oneness consciousness, unity consciousness. If that's already ignited in you, if you're already feeling resonant with that stream of consciousness, then you're absolutely not very prone to being hijacked by whatever's left and playing out on the planet. It's more like we're witness to the residue being like kind of shaken and lifted, off from the earth. I just see it as these little, like almost like ash or little like particulates, like being like kind of lifted slowly from the bodies, hearts, minds. And then of course, as Shekinah Ma said, it's like the body and the earth are one. So when we work on ourselves to constantly course correct when that old belief system or belief construct comes in, or when we start to feel self-defeated or depressed or get hooked in by these like spirits, like jealousy or hatred or judgment. It's like, as soon as you know that, it's like, nope, you don't belong here.
Yeah.
Because we recognize now where it came from. It was like an infiltration. So yeah, I mean, I agree with Kara, and I love how you unpack that, Raquel, to explain it in a way that, I really resonate with how you explain that. So thank you for that.
Thank you. So we're going to shift gears as I think we are ready to wrap up here, and I think Shekinah Ma has to leave pretty quickly. So I just wanted to give the audience a flavor of what's coming up in terms of grid work missions and where we are with our events. Bear with me here for a moment. So yeah, we have a lot of exciting things coming up with our Trinity logo that was just created. I hope you guys like that. This was our vision, I suppose, the three of us together. And so we have the first event coming up on the 25th of June, and we'd love it if you folks can join us. This one we are dedicating to the Divine Feminine. And when we started the planning this event, we had a lot of the Divine Feminine energies like Isis coming in. We had the Sophia Consciousness women like White Buffalo Calf Woman, Mary Magdalene, Hathor, and Mother Mary. And so all of these beings came in, and that's how this event sort of came into fruition. And so we are going to be doing our grid work mission based on some of these things that we have outlined here. So we're hoping to clear out all of these dark energies that we've been talking about with some particular focus to what are we doing? We're talking about Mars, we're talking about the forced breeder programs. We are talking about Ascension Islands, Bermuda Islands, and we're going to be working in Canada as well, in Fredericton. And just bringing in all of those energies. And we keep coming back to Turtle Island because that seems to be the new Earth frequency energies. And so clearing all of those energies so that these new energies can be birthed within that Turtle Island energy, which is North America. And so we invite you to bring in all of your gifts, your songs, your prayers, your light language, and there is a sign-up form at the end of this page where you can let us know that you will be attending. And then the next event is on July the 10th. This one is focused to the divine masculine energies, and it's for the full buck moon. And for this one, we are calling in those Christos energies, those energies of King Arthur and Yeshua combined. And we will be doing our grid work mission based on just clearing all of those energies within the field, within the Vatican, within those false king of tyranny energies. And so, yeah, it's going to be a beautiful event. We've had some really powerful masculine energies join us for the last two grid work missions. And so we encourage the males out there to join us and share your voice, share your powerful voices to these events. Again, there's a sign-up sheet for you to register for that event. And these events are still in the planning stages. So we just, yesterday, I believe, or the day before, we had a meeting and we felt that we should bring forward another event. And this one would be focused on the children. The tentative dates as of now is July the 1st, which is also Canada Day. But we thought that it would be a powerful mission as we try to clear those energies of, just the way kids are being misunderstood and captured in the field in terms of sex trafficking or just all those ugly things that we don't necessarily hear about in our everyday lives, or we choose to ignore them, right? And so this was the intention of bringing this event forward. Was there anything you guys wanted to add to that? I think we also said we'd focus on Canada, right, for July 1st?
Yeah.
Right. Yes. I seen that was like our liberation, independence. There's such a huge activation in Canada right now. And we know that there's a lot of energy now being focused into British Columbia, where three Shamankas live, due to Kash Patel locating that we are now apparently a cause to the fentanyl and human trafficking. Like their eye is now upon us, as they've already closed down the Mexico south border. So now they're looking to this north border, and Vancouver, the port in Vancouver, is the hot zone for that. So part of our work is to really bring, like we mentioned, attention to the issues, and then bring our intention to the issue. And as you could say, like a firefighter, put the fires out, really just bring our light, our love, our beauty way upon these uglinesses and just clear them. So it was kind of our mission to work with the divine feminine that we know needs healing, And then to work with our divine masculine, that we also need to have the healing and really just reclaim. This is a reclamation. We are in a time of reclamation. That is what the time of revelations heralds. Revelations herald reclamations. So we are reclaiming our divine feminine. We are reclaiming our divine masculine. We are reclaiming our children, which we, through free will, we have to speak out our declaration, our proclamations. So we are declaring and proclaiming and reclaiming and bringing this attention and intention to what needs to be done here on the earth. And then we will also be working within, I know, the 888 Lions Gate, which will be then the future August 8th in the boots on the ground, Shekinah Grace's beautiful temple in Caslow, British Columbia. So lots to, you could like put out these things, like, you know, we'll have, maybe we'll form our own Facebook page, the Shamanka Trinity Facebook page, and we can just start plugging all these things into our Facebook page, and then we'll circulate that Facebook group, whatever page out, so that everything will be very succinct for everybody to follow.
Love it.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's a great plan. So, Shekinah Grace, do you want to chat a little bit about this and then we'll wrap up?
Yeah, I mean, I just want to say that what we're doing right now is we're architecting our new dreaming. So if you have a new dream, if you're tired of the old dream and you have a new dream, you know, grid work really is such a beautiful, it's like science, it's like metaphysics, it's like practical. Like I can't speak highly enough of this work. For really physically feeling and witnessing in real time the architecture of your reality shifting and changing. So that's what we're doing. It's like we're future visionaries, but what we're really doing is we're creating the future in the now. We're learning and practicing how to embody that future vision in the present moment. So, you know, it's like that's, and then when you work within community, you really feel the weaving, you know, that weaving effect. And it's like no building is built by one person alone, and we're architects here. So, you know, a lot of what we've experienced in the grid mission so far is like by the end of the mission, what we witness is like the new earth. So yeah, if you're up for new earth vibes and new earth frequency, but you want to really participate in the process of, you know, building a new dream for the planet and humanity that is aligned with divine will, you know, that it's like your free will chooses to align with the will of the divine, with the will of God, Holy Mother, Holy Father, God, Sophia, Gaia, Mother Earth, you know, with your own sacred heart. Like if when we tune into our own hearts, it's like a yes, yes. Like Shekinah Ma said in her transmission at the beginning, she was like, what feels good? What doesn't feel good? You know, that's your yes, that's your no. I mean, it's just time to respond to that and honor your body, you know? That's the best way to start to take care and attune to your health, is to feel your body temple and to trust the wisdom that it carries. So that's what I would say about that. I'll share more on our Facebook page, you know, about the event location. And, but I'm really excited. I'm so honored. I'm so grateful to both of you. I love you so much. And yeah, I'm just thank you. Thank you for this time and all the things that are coming.
Thank you both. No, I've just put the link in the chat as well, and I'll put a link and all of the information in the description below. I just wanted to thank you both so much from the bottom of my heart for this beautiful conversation. I know we went all over the place, but I think we were really good in presenting what it is we are bringing to this reality, to these events, into this weekly conversation that's going to be hopefully every Thursday from today. And so we'll bring in all of, what's closest to our hearts and what's happening, and, give everybody an update on a weekly basis. So thank you, ladies. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Please put a like on this video. We'd really appreciate it. Love, like, and share it as well. Spread the word. And thank you for tuning in. Much blessings to everybody. Namaste.
Namaste.
Yeah.